Hi, welcome back to BLR Knowledge Center. In this today's session, we are going to talk about the next technology lesson, that is understanding of HTML elements and some JavaScript sample programs. So, as part of web technologies, these are the required technologies we need to understand, especially the HTML programming language and the JavaScript. We need or we should have some awareness on that to build or put some validations at the client side. So when you talk about the HTML tags, I think HTML font tags. So this is the basic markup language we should have, right? So as I mentioned, HTML is a hypertext markup language. It is a kind of a section of document which contains a couple of tags in it, right? So when you talk about this, so this is a language which is used to create a static websites, and this HTML is the language of web pages development. So basically, HTML uses bracketed commands like HTML tags that are integrated into a text document. And HTML code can be written in text editors. No need of having it different editors. Notepad is enough for any developer to directly jump into that and write the HTML code. And they can save it editor file as .html, and we can open it in any browser so that it will show you the output. So let me share my whiteboard or notepad to get more understanding on that and see like how I'm going to write a sample program. So understanding of understanding HTML form tag elements within it. Okay, so when I talk about HTML, right? So I just wanted to do some no important points about HTML, some insight on that, insight information of HTML. Like, so HTML is a language, right, which is used to create websites. HTML is a language of web pages to communicate different pages. HTML uses bracketed command or bracketed commands, or right, HTML tags that are integrated into a text document called HTML. So HTML code can be written in any text editor. HTML code can be written in any, right, or in a text editor, simply a notepad. So the extension of HTML is HTML file extension is either HTML or .html. You can give either of these to HTML or HTML, because Windows by default support four character extension. I mean 3 character extensions. Nowadays it is supporting 4 also. You can see a PPT or PPTX or DOC or DOCX, etc. Right? So you can simply open this file in browser and you can see the HTML output. So open this HTML in any browser. You can see the output. So some basic HTML tags I wanted to show you here or discuss. One thing is HTML and head and body, and some basic HTML tags like title for page title, right? and style, this is for applying the style, and link for related link documentation, and meta tag or script, right? So there's a couple of tags we are going to use it. HTML head body, these are the compulsory. So basically HTML is a template, um, or you can say it is a kind of a skeleton. We must have some required tags, like one thing is HTML body and form, and within HTML and within HTML body we have head, and within head and body we have a title and a kind of style and links and meta and script tags. Okay, some example I can say here is, right. So I'm going to define my sample example here is HTML. This is what the first tag we need to use, right? I'm closing this because it's required to close the tag. Of course, it's not mandatory, but it's having close tag is the best standard for tags you are keeping in the page. So, and after that, I'm going to define my body after HTML, and again I'm closing my body here, right? Close body, and after that body, I'm keeping my required tags HTML demo or my first HTML page, and I'm closing h1 tag. H1 is nothing but head one, so it's going to display your caption or text mentioned between this tag in kind of a font which is bigger than h2 h3 tags. Okay, another thing is paragraph tag. I'm going to just keep here like my first paragraph, right? I'm just closing this tag. That's it. So this is a simple HTML. I'm going to create it. It's simple h1 and repeat controls, right? Here HTML and closing and then body. Instead of HTML, you can keep head tag if you want. It's not mandatory. Head and close this head here itself, right? And inside of head, you can declare title. That means title of your website, right? You can keep here demo HTML something. You can save it with HTML or .html .html or .html extension, and then browse that file. Okay, so that way it is going to display your HTML page in the browser. Okay, so an HTML form tag basically having a couple of tags inside of this form section, such as here h1 kind of tag and p tag. If you wanted to design with some text box or labels, you can use text control or password controls, checkbox, radio buttons, submit buttons, menu items, etc. You can keep it inside of HTML tag within this body, right? So an HTML form facilitates the user to enter data that is to be sent to the server for processing, such as name, email address, password, whatever form you wanted, you can build that. So HTML tags are building blocks of HTML tag page. HTML elements are components that are used in HTML page, right? HTML tags usually exist in a pair consisting of starting and ending, like this way. This is starting and this is ending. So sorry, this is ending. And similarly, body here ending, HTML here we are ending it, right? Title here ending, head is here, ending here. Okay. So the HTML form element can contains one or more of the following form elements, like h1 or p, or you can declare input. In my case, I want to display some text box. Then you say type text, right? ID equal to some ID value. You can give it txt name, right? And then close this input so that you will see a text box, right? So similarly, I think if you wanted to design with buttons, you just use button or input type button or submit, and ID equal to btn submit. This ID we will use when you use this control inside of a program to read that particular object. Okay, so this kind of labels you can use. If you want to label, you can use label. And if you want to use a drop down, you can use select. And if you want to use text area, so if you wanted to feed more text, so text is not going to support it. If you wanted to feed more text, use text area. And if you want buttons, instead of submit, use button tag, etc. So this is something we need to have it, right? Let me just to save this my HTML as per the demo. I'm just copying this. I'm opening another HTML. Let me come here and open another notepad. As this is my editor, I'm just saving and keeping in my in this stop not desktop. I'll keep in this D drive so that it is easy for me to access. So D, and here I'm saying demo html.html or demo.html, right? I'm just going to my browser, right? And I'll browse that d demo.html. I think this is something html, and you can see that my first HTML page and my first paragraph. This is what the code you have given, right? So that way it is showing a sample as my first HTML page, my first paragraph. This was kept in h1 tag, that's why it is in header one, and this is paragraph, right? So if you go and change it here further, if you wanted to change like this, I want to give my as capital, this as right my, and see if you wanted to give in a different header, right? H2, HT, and browse it. Now you'll see how it is rendered. A simple kind of syntax with tags inside of HTML form tag, and you use it. And coming to here, we just talk about HTML and then body. So inside of body, right, we actually having form tag. This is the actual syntax of HTML, but this is not mandatory. And inside of form tag, we are going to give all this stuff. Okay. So what I'm trying to explain it here is, so first you will have HTML, right? And then you will have a head section. So in the head section, we are going to show a demo HTML title, right? And then again body, and inside of body we have form tag. Inside of form we have different controls. Okay, this is something about the demo which relates to our first topic, understanding HTML form tag and elements within it. Okay, and next one is, right, when we talk about the next topic was is that our code? Yeah, the next thing is, right, understanding of JavaScript, right? You should understand JavaScript using some sample programs in the HTML. Okay, so as I mentioned, so users should have an expertise in scripting to validate your input data, right? And then take decisions to display the content based on the program logic you build inside of HTML. So JavaScript is currently one of the most, on-demand programming language worldwide. The most widely used and well-known programming language in the world is JavaScript. That's why people are preferring the client-side scripting in JavaScript. And of course, based on that framework, we have so many languages client-side like jQuery and Angular, and of course React, TypeScript, and Vue, and if you look at other languages like Golang, other languages. So this purely client side, so we must go with JavaScript or jQuery, and other languages are supporting it server side stuff as well. Hence, we cannot prefer them, and we only use this JavaScript right now because this is the most popular programming framework at client side. So as a result, we are offering numerous kind of JavaScript programs for practice and learning here. So that's why I'm just taking a JavaScript here. So only thing is you need to understand how to write these programs in you know using JavaScript. Suppose let me share. The topic is like JavaScript with some samples. So as I mentioned, like this is currently one of the most in-demand programming languages worldwide, right? So for example, if the user wants to create a code to add two numbers in JS, he or she can use the following code. Like this, so adding of two numbers. So how I'm going to write my HTML, right? So to declare any variable in JavaScript, we use var, which is the object type. So we don't have any kind of data types in JavaScript. We always use var. Let us say var a equal to, right, the number something like 3, and var b equal to 7. These two variables I'm going to add it. That is keeping in some variable, right? A plus b, right? So here variable is using it for storing a value in the memory, so that you will fetch that using that particular variable name in the program, right? So now let's go to your programming language, like in HTML in our case. I think this is the same thing we are going to use it if you want. So otherwise we'll create another program. Let me create. So HTML as usual, HTML close. This HTML can be defined in different way, like doc type. If you want to support HTML5 support, you will use this way also, right? You can use anything. Okay, so in the doc type, after doc type HTML, and here you define head, right? And after that you will define your body closing, and after that you will define form tag. Instead of form tag, whatever program you want to write, you can write it. And after that body or before body, you can write scripting. So for to write a script, you need to add script tag and close script tag. So this script program can be written before body or after body. That's all depends on the developer requirement, right? If it is defining before body, before rendering of your controls, keeping in your form tag, it is going to execute. If you are defining after body, after rendering the controls, this script is going to execute. Okay, only that is the difference. So I'm just keeping my var number equal to 12, right? This simple program. If right number less than 10, then I'm going to write document.write. This is the function the JavaScript to write some text on the no output is less than 10. Semicolon is not mandatory, but it is the kind of standard we need to follow for JavaScript. If it is not true, then I'm going to write this. This is not less than, right? Is not. So when I save this and run, you'll see how what is happening. It just copying the stuff, whatever stuff I'm writing it here. I'm just copying, right? Going to my example we have written, right? And in this before body, right? You can write the same thing, or you just replace this, save it, and go to your browser and browse your stuff. Look at this, 12 is not less than. When you go and see this page source, you'll see that this is what the source, right? You just written 12 and number less than 10. 12 is less than 10, which is not true, and it's go to else part. It's saying is not less than this thing. Okay, and if we're changing this to some other kind of like 9, and when I say refresh it is less than 10. Okay, this is how it is going to render in your browser. Okay, so in similar way, I think I request you people should write some programs like add two numbers or subtract two numbers, etc. That way you can understand more on how to use JavaScript in your website development. Okay, so please practice that so that you will have some idea. So practice examples, right? Now add two numbers. You have already written the syntax in the above, and please keep that code in your HTML and see how it is working. And add, subtract, right? And multiply and divide. All these things can be done using JavaScript, right? You try these examples and also add n numbers, etc., right? And also try to check even or odd number program. So you try these programs using JavaScript, you definitely get some knowledge on this JavaScript, how you are going to use an HTML. So I hope you understand the concepts of this HTML tags and the JavaScript with some examples, because JavaScript is the most important framework at client side. We generally use it for client side validations. Okay, so because this is the most prominent technology we are running now, so we should use that. Okay, I hope you understand this HTML tags and the JavaScript, and please practice on that. And we'll in the coming sessions we'll see like the actual stuff how we're going to start for the ASP.NET. Thanks for listening this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.